deeper into how to use the business hours applet in your call flows. So there are two ways I tend to see people use the business hours um, applet in their call flows. The first is to do this immediately. Like the first thing that happens is we check the business hours. In that case, what we're going to do is when a call begins, the first applet will drop the business hours on. Now, a couple things to note about the business hours applet. First of all, you need to make sure you check what the server current time is saying so that it's saying the correct time in your location. Your server location is controlled via your core smartphone settings, and if you need to change what time zone you're located in, that's fine. Now, if you're using or if your company has multiple locations, so for instance, you have offices in different states across different time zones or different countries, in fact, you just need to make sure that you're recognizing what the server is and adjusting your hours that you add accordingly. So if I was going to do something, and right now my server says it's 11:26, well, 11:28 now, that's fine. But if I wanted to say do EST time, because right now I'm in Central Europe, then I would have to adjust accordingly and adjust my opening hours so that the EST times were entered in as the Central Europe ones. In this case, though, I'm simply going to say we're going to be open from Monday to Wednesday, from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And of course, all you do is select the dates you're open. You can copy and paste or change, do it, type in, or for instance, change and make different ones. Let's say the 6 p.m. this time. You have the flexibility for each day of adding the hours. And of course, then you have what we class as open hours and what we class as closed. Open is anything where you have the times of set on a day and you're within those hours. So in this case, between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. on Monday, 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. on Tuesday, and 9 a.m. on 6 p.m. on Wednesday. But I am closed anytime outside of those hours on these days. So for instance, 8 a.m. on Wednesday, we would be marked as closed, or Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then you basically have the option of what to do when you're open, so i.e. within those hours, or when you're closed outside of those hours. And that can be any one of these dial applets. You can drop a dial applet, you can drop the round robin, you can do an IVR. It doesn't really matter. But what it means is that whatever you do here is going to be determined first by your opening hours. Now, the second way I see people do this, if I remove that, is actually by doing a IVR first. So there are times when you may have like a sales team that's open different hours than a marketing team that's open different hours than a team in a different state. Say you're using one number for everything, an 800 number. In this case, we're going to drop the IVR first, and then we're going to drop the business hours on the option. So in this case, what we have is an IVR which has key press 1. So if they type 1, it's going to check the business hours and do just like before. Let's just say we're open only Mondays. What happens when we're open? What happens when we're closed? And of course, that means that I can do different business hours for different options. In this case, maybe we're only open Tuesday from 10 till 8 p.m. And that means that instead of just doing one fixed business hour setup for the entire system, we're doing separate business hours for each key press. That can be another really good way of doing this. And it gives you the options and a lot of flexibility. There's a huge flexibility of how you use business hours. Again, it's just important to note when you're doing the business hours that you need to make sure you drop in something for open and something for closed. Often we'll have clients in closed either go straight to voicemail or dial an external answering system if they wish, external answering service. And open, of course, you've got all the options of another IVR or a round robin or any of these applets here. So that is how to use the business hours applet in the call flow system.